Welcome back. 8:45, according to us, not going to be as nice of a day as yesterday, but it looks pretty great right now in downtown Vancouver. Well, COVID-19 has taken its toll on Canada's economy for months, but now plans for recovery are underway. Earlier this week, businesses and organizations from across Canada launched a task force aimed at getting the economy back on track by focusing on Canada's resource sector. Joining us now is one of the leaders on this is Stuart Muir from beautiful Victoria, BC. Wow, look at that amazing backdrop. We are so lucky to have you this morning.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate the time to talk about the task force for real jobs, real recovery.
So why should we be focusing on Canada's resource sector to help restore our economy?
Yeah, there's a few key points. I mean, really, it's a foundational economic engine of the Canadian economy. It always has been, and we need it in future. One of the things that's quite notable is that many of the best paying jobs, whether in professions, in trades, in small businesses and large businesses, are from natural resources, or they support, whether it's in manufacturing or transportation, all kinds of other areas. And that's long been a feature. So it's a very significant part of the national GDP or economy. And we need to keep that going, because if we don't, there will be a contraction in the economy that we, right now, especially when so much like retail and tourism is hurting so badly, is not going to be there for us. So it's an opportunity to ensure that this engine of the economy is there for us.
And you guys launched this task force right after COVID happened, essentially?
That's right. There's two phases. We did our first in April, May, when we realized that there was going to be a long-term issue here. We did a little study where one of the recommendations was that we needed a task force. So after that, in May, we set to work. For the last couple of months, really, we've been bringing together a coalition. Now it's representing more than 250,000 businesses from coast to coast to coast, all the way up to the north, as well as more than 3 million Canadian workers in all of these organizations, industry and unions, First Nations, local communities. It's really an unusually broad coalition. And I think that just speaks to the foundational presence of natural resources in the economy.
Okay, so you and your team, you plan to present some solutions and ideas to the federal government. Can you give us some examples?
Yeah. I mean, broadly speaking, the ideas that we're looking for need to meet 3 criteria. They need to be competitive, they need to be clean, and they need to be inclusive. And if we can find ideas that fit into this, I think we will have a really solid set of ideas to bring forward, because these are real. The reason we call it the real jobs, real recovery is because we know that the immediate impact of natural resource activity, and by the way, when I say natural resources, here's what I mean. I mean mining and forestry, oil and gas, transportation, construction needed to bring those things about. That's what I mean. They're real and ready to go now. So when we report out next month, we're going to aim our report to the federal government in Ottawa. We know lots and lots of people have views that they're sharing with Ottawa, and we're making sure that 3 million workers aren't left out of that conversation. It's too important.
And you mentioned that some First Nations leaders were on your task force. What sort of conversations have you been having with Indigenous leaders?
What we're seeing more and more in Canada in the last few years, and in British Columbia, we recently had new legislation that makes First Nations, Indigenous people generally, a more part of the economy, which is a very good thing. What we're hearing is we want to be part of the solutions to future prosperity while protecting the environment. And right now, things aren't working out the way they should for First Nations. Even though there's lots of good intentions, there's some good policy being developed. First Nations are an important part of this. In fact, they're on our advisory council, a number of significant leaders who are bringing forward ideas so that everything we do starts with, have we addressed this important issue?
Okay, so what can the average person do to help? Someone like me, I don't work in the resource sector, but I am, I want to see Canada's economy succeed. So what can I do to help?
Yeah, well, thanks just for listening today. That's a big thing, having a broader conversation. Another thing, if people want to look at the website, it's realrecovery.ca. Have a look there. On Twitter, it's realcdn recovery, and we'll be talking about our mission there. And then next month, when we come out with the report, we're going to be looking to share it with all Canadians, and I hope people pay attention, give it a thought. Sometimes family life, everyone's busy. Give this a moment if you can, and think about what we're saying.
Okay, so the report comes out next month. We will be watching closely. Stuart, thank you so much for joining us this morning from beautiful Victoria.
Thank you.
All right, that is Stuart Muir. He works with Resource Works in Victoria, BC. We're going to take a break. We'll have more Breakfast Television just ahead.